Hi everyone, my name is Charlotte Burr. I own AZ Insurance Team here in Tempe, Arizona, and I'm going to be teaching you two things today. One is how to very inexpensively make your own Thanksgiving centerpiece, and I'm also going to be teaching you how to get the best rates possible for your homeowner's insurance policy. So first, let's talk about the floral side of it. So first, what you want to have is a dish. You want to have a really low dish, nothing too high, and you also want to have it in the shape that your table is in. So if you have a rectangle size table or rectangle table, you want a rectangle or long dish. If you have a square table, square dish. Easy enough. And then the next thing you want to have are these floral blocks. You can get them at Michael's. I learned from experience the one at the dollar store is terrible. They don't soak up any water. And you want to make sure you get the right ones. There is a different kind. When you squeeze it, it makes like a crunchy noise. This is not the one you want. This is for fake flowers and for dried flowers. So make sure you get the one, if you smush your finger into it, it makes an impression really easily. It's like a sponge. So I talked to you about the basic parts of what you need to build up your floral arrangement. So now we'll talk about homeowner's insurance. So think of the dish as the home. There's a lot of things that go into the home that affect your premium. There is the age of the house. The older the house, the more expensive the insurance is going to be, because the insurance company figures it's just a matter of time before something happens to it. You know, hot water heater explodes or something like that. So another thing that goes into the cost of your homeowner's insurance, so think of this dish as the age. This portion right here is the size of the house. The bigger the house, the more coverage you need, the more expensive the insurance is going to be. That one's kind of common sense. If you have a tiny house, a little bit of coverage, cheaper homeowner's insurance policy because it's covering less. So that is the base of your floral arrangement, your centerpiece, and that's also the base part of your homeowner's insurance. So now let's start building your centerpiece and also building up your homeowner's insurance. So for your Thanksgiving centerpiece, I use a mixture of artificial, because there's some cool stuff you can get that's artificial that you can't find fresh. And the easiest thing to do is just get one of these already put together bouquets, because it has most of what you need, just a mixture of stuff. So we're going to start putting this together. And you want to start with the greenery first. So get out all your greens. So we can think of the greenery and the filler flower, you know, those like little baby's breath things. Baby's breath is super tacky. It hasn't been in style since like 1982. Please don't use that. But any kind of filler flower, little flowers like that. So you want to think of the filler flower and the greenery as your credit. The filler flower and the greenery is kind of what gives the floral centerpiece the fullness. If you don't have greenery and filler flower, it looks like crap. So let's think of this as your credit. Your credit has a huge impact on your, not just homeowners insurance rates, but insurance rates in general. If you have bad credit, your rates are going to be higher. And if you have great credit, your rates are going to be lower. Pretty easy to figure out. So what you want to do, never use scissors when making a floral arrangement. You always want to use, a knife. And you always want to think proportional. You want to have everything very proportional. So this is what I mean about proportional, and you do the greenery first, so it kind of builds the canvas. Just like your credit is super important for homeowners insurance. Usually if I see someone's homeowners insurance come back really expensive and it's not an old house, it's not in a bad zip code, I can usually pretty much, you know, figure out that it's a credit issue. So I'm also taking my artificial leaves. Don't use scissors. They always have wire in them. Cut all those off. And this one is optional. If you don't want to do it, it's fine. Just like how having a pool is optional. I have found with about half the companies I work with, if you have a pool, you pay more. The reason for that is there are more liability associated things that can come up if you have a pool. Drownings, someone getting hurt, running on the pool decking. There's just a lot of things that can happen, especially if you have kids. So usually you're going to pay a little bit more for your homeowner's policy if you have a pool. Okay, so you see it's kind of coming together. And now what we can do, let's talk about the things that you cannot control. Your age. So if you are older, you're probably going to be paying less for homeowners insurance because the insurance company knows you're probably not doing anything crazy. Those days are probably past you. So you're not a big liability concern. You're probably going to maintain your house. Versus someone that's younger, you still might be in your partying days and you know, things happen liability-wise, or you may not be responsible enough to maintain your house. Again, this is not my opinion. These are statistics from the insurance company. All right, and there's actually a couple insurance companies that ask how many residents are under the age of 18. Here's an example. I had a client a few years ago. Her little kids, like I don't know, 7, 8, they let the bathtub overfill in the second story, and it went down through the ceiling. It caused tens of thousands of dollars worth of damage. That is an example of why insurance companies ask about kids, because kids kind of do things that are silly, accidentally, of course. Okay, now we're starting to get some color in there. It's actually starting to look like something. So speaking of claims, claims are another situation, another rating factor, as we call it, that has a huge effect on insurance premiums. If you have, say, one claim in the last 5 years, you can expect to pay about 30% more than you would normally pay for your homeowner's insurance. It's a huge red flag to insurance companies because they think, and again, this is statistics, they think that if you filed one claim, you're going to file another claim. Especially if it's water related. So if you're, I don't know, a pipe in your wall started leaking or burst or something like that, they figure, uh-oh, this house is a problem child, and if it happened once, it'll happen again. And honestly, that's true sometimes, where people have repetitive claims on the same house for the same issue. So what you want to do when you feel like you need to file a homeowner's claim, or something happened and you just don't know what to do, what you want to do is you want to call your insurance agent and say, hey, here's what happened, tell me what to do. If they will not give you advice, get a new insurance agent or broker. That's what your agent should be there for. They should be giving you advice on what to do on things that you are not an expert on, because that's what we should be. We should be experts on this stuff. When my clients call me, if the first thing I say is, have you had anyone come out and give you an estimate? If they say no, I say, all right, do that first. Because I would say half the time, the damage from whatever happened is less than $1,000, and most people have $1,000 deductible. Doesn't make sense to file that claim. But if half your house burns down, of course, file a claim. That's a no-brainer. Anything less than that, call your insurance agent. And if you don't have an insurance agent, you just have an insurance company you go through, you don't have a point of contact, The insurance company themselves will not consult you at all. If you call them and say, hey, I think I might need to file a claim, and you start talking to them about it, whether you realize it or not, you have filed a claim. Because if you call an insurance company and say claim, your claim is started. And you cannot, even if nothing comes of it and nothing gets paid out in that claim, you still have a claim on your record. So if you ever go to sell your house, you're going to have a claim on your record because they're going to want to order a claims history report, also known as a CLU report, and that will throw up some red flags. Also, some insurance companies will charge you more if you've had a claim on your record, even if there was nothing paid out. I know, crazy. But that's one of those things. A lot of people say, well, that's not fair. Unfortunately, with insurance companies, because they have so much data, so many statistics, they go off their statistics and they're actually allowed to discriminate because they have so much data built up. And you can see right now with the floral arrangement, what I'm doing is I'm just filling the naked spots. So anything that looks bare, I'm just sticking stuff in there. And with floral arrangements, whether it's a centerpiece or a big floral arrangement, you always want to think symmetry. For this one, I'm going to use a combination of real and fake. And these ones I literally got at Dollar Tree. Be careful though with the dollar store. A lot of their flowers are like super tacky. Please don't get carnations. Please don't get the roses with the little drops of water on there. Ugh. But especially around the holidays, you can get some really cool ones like this. It's little pumpkins with, I think, oak leaves on it. And this one is pussy willow. And this one is forsythia. So the next portion of homeowners insurance that will contribute towards your rates I want to talk about is zip code. Zip code has a pretty decent rating factor to it. So what that means is if there's an area of town that you would not walk down the street at night in, that probably has really expensive homeowners rates. And you can probably figure out why. It's crime. Or if there's an area that, say, the home builder, you know, during 04, 05, 06, houses were being slapped together really quickly, really cheaply. I don't know if cheaply is a word. Really cheap. So the home builders took a lot of shortcuts. And they got Chinese-made parts, cheap parts, you know, things like that. So for those houses, there's actually a lot more claims than the houses that were more well-built, you know, in the 60s, 70s, 80s, just because the parts that they used were better and people took their time to build versus slapping things together. So Queen Creek, West Valley, the areas that really exploded during those times, you might find that even though the houses are newer, they're going to have higher rates just because they weren't built well. And I'm not saying this for all new-ish houses, but there's a good portion that is true about. Okay, and what you want to do now, once you're getting to the end of your flowers, you don't have a lot left, you want to look at your floral arrangement from all different angles and see which parts need to be filled in. And then I'm also going to talk about the other reason that I could come up with about homeowners rates, something that makes them high, is if you live in an area that is not what's called incorporated. So a few years ago, Queen Creek was still pretty rural, and they did not at that time have their own dedicated fire department. So if you lived in Queen Creek, you had to get a subscription to what's called Rural Metro. And Rural Metro is a for-profit company where if your house catches on fire, or interestingly enough, if you have a medical emergency, they will come and help you just like the fire department would if you lived in, say, you know, Phoenix or Scottsdale. So if you are in an area that is not incorporated, you're going to pay a lot more because the homeowner's insurance company knows you do not have, you're not incorporated into your metro or your town's fire department. And there's also a chance that you may not be paying for rural metro because unfortunately a lot of people don't. So they're going to charge you a lot more. What that means is you are not within 500 feet of a fire department or a fire hydrant, and you're not within 5 miles of a fire station. But what if you are within 5 miles of a fire station? It still doesn't mean that that is your fire station. It doesn't mean that you're incorporated. If yours doesn't look like this, chances are the stems of your flowers are either too long or too short, or it's not symmetrical. So they should about be all the same length, a little bit taller at the top, of course, longer in the edges if it's oblong or rectangle. So that's it. A couple neat things you can do is you can stick some candles in there. And this will go right into the foam just like the flowers will. But make sure the candles are tall enough so it's not lighting your stuff on fire. Lighting your flowers on fire, that is. So I'm not really going to push those in, but that's an example of what you can do. And then also, if you want to do a bow, just to finish it off, and let's talk about finishing off your homeowner's insurance deductible. The higher your deductible is, the cheaper your homeowner's insurance is going to be. So if you have a $500 or $1,000 deductible, your homeowner's insurance is going to be, the normal rate because that's what most people have. But if you want to have a lower rate, you can do a $1,500, $2,500, $5,000, $10,000 deductible. But if you have a loan, your mortgage company probably will not allow you to have higher than a $5,000 deductible. That's usually pretty normal. You can stick this bow anywhere you want. I just kind of stuck it in right there because there was a naked spot. So this is your holiday floral arrangement. Yay. It should last about a week. And happy Thanksgiving, happy holidays. Please contact AZ Insurance Team if you have any questions about homeowners insurance or really any other types of insurance. Because we're brokers, we can help with all types of insurance. And if we don't do that type of insurance, we will refer you to a trusted insurance agent who can help you with that type of insurance. So Charlotte Berger, AZ Insurance Team, thank you for watching today and give us a call, 480-535-5709. Bye.